Hello and welcome to the second episode in a series of webinars and podcasts being brought to you by Darwin Recruitment. My name's Adams-Dunstan. I head up the US division of Darwin Recruitment, a recruitment business specialising in providing IT solutions to the market across the US. In this particular series, I'm partnering with a bunch of thought leaders from the artificial intelligence space. And today I'm going to be speaking to Mr. Alan Pelz-Sharpe. Alan is actually the founder of a company called Deep Analysis and is also on an advisory firm who solely focus on disruption and innovation within information management. So as a quick introduction into Alan's background, he has over 25 years of experience in the IT industry, has worked in a wide variety of end-user organizations and suppliers around the world. He's co-authored several books, is often quoted by the press for his work, and has even appeared on a number of TV broadcasts nationally and internationally as an expert guest. So welcome to the show, Alan.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. Looking forward
Thank you.
to it.
So I was hoping, Alan, you could give us a little, maybe a slightly deeper insight into your background and what it is that your business does.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm basically what's called an industry analyst, and it's a very vague term. It means something specific to me, but it's very difficult to explain to others. But essentially, I research the industry being the technology industry, specifically software and technology that relates to enterprises, in other words, businesses. I don't really do the whole smartphone consumer world. And I help people just sort of help to guide them through that chaos and make sense of it for them. But where my research and my whole sort of ethos and starting up Deep Analysis came from is that most of it's noise. Most of it you really don't need to know. I mean, I drive a car, but I've no idea how a spark plug works, and you don't need to either, right? I mean, I would figure. And the same goes for technology. You need to know what it actually does for you. And there's not that much advice available for that. And the reason for that is when I started out my career, I worked in oil and gas, and we implemented it was a very big IT project. And we're talking the 90s here, way back in the day. It was a disaster. I mean, if it could go wrong, it went wrong. And that shaped my mindset ever since, right? Why do IT projects go wrong? And that brings us all the way to AI. I've been fascinated in AI for like 20 years. As an industry analyst, when I started out, nobody wanted to talk about this topic. It was weird stuff in academia that would never happen and didn't really make any kind of sense. Well, AI is everywhere now. So things have changed. So it's given me an opportunity to come back to it, and that's what we've done. Dived in deep.
So we're using the term AI. What is your impression of artificial intelligence in 2019 as it's seen right now?
We are using the term AI, and if you get technologists around a room, that could be the rest of the day spent deciding what is and what isn't and how you define it. We use it very broadly because buyers and end users use it very broadly, right? It's a generic term. It's in a really interesting place. I mean, the core AI, if you like, and I'm being very loose with the technological terms here, but the algorithms, the models, they're really advanced, way more than most people think they are. However, do they do anything useful? A lot of the time, no. And B, the big problem isn't the algorithms and the models, is that they're totally reliant on high quality data, or data at least. Most companies think they've got data coming out their ears. They have. Is the data any good? Big question. Can they actually get access to it? Another big question. So AI is in an odd place. The technology is sort of at one end of the spectrum. The use of it, certainly in most companies today, be it here in the US or anywhere, frankly, very, very, very early stages.
So one of the biggest challenges being that the data at this point, does it make sense? Can we use it effectively? And do people actually know what they're trying to gain from it?
It's twofold, or maybe even three. Who knows? I might add a fourth, but it's definitely two. I mean, one, the big challenge. I mean, the biggest part of an AI project is pulling and cleaning data. It's not sexy at all. I mean, that could be 80% of the cost of a project. Finding, cleaning, assembling data, and managing it. Plugging in the AI software, that's the easy bit. So there is that. But I think, as opposed to giving you 4 separate answers here, I'll give you the other big one. AI is sold to fix certain problems. That's okay. But that underplays the value of AI. AI actually gives you potential to essentially reframe, to reimagine, to rethink, to re-engineer whatever you want. That's what's not really getting leveraged today. And that's really the true potential of it. So if you take AI in customer marketing, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, you can do better personalization. You can pop more windows up in front of somebody's eyes because they once browsed for this thing on Amazon. Well, yeah, that's pretty clumsy, right? I mean, that's really just a possible minor improvement on what you were doing before. There's a chance to throw it all out the window and say, how do we do this completely differently? How do we do this better? The technology's there today. It's not just AI. AI lives in a universe of cloud computing and edge computing and all other sort of forms of technology. The technology's there. Few people are really taking a step back and saying, whoa, I could really do something completely different, like really much better, truly innovate. That's not happening very much. It's going to start, though. I mean, it is. And I think moving forward through 2020 on, we're going to see more early examples of that.
Interesting.
You know.
So in 2019, who would you say has given the best example of taking AI, using it in the business, and really seeing success from that? Anyone off the top of your head?
That's really I mean, well, I know the answer to it, but it's probably not the one people want to hear. It's actually where the best use of it has been in the most boring areas of business, right? So if you take something, I mean, this is like, it makes watching paint dry exciting, okay? Scanning and capturing documents and extracting the data off them. Every company does it, right? Every large company does it in volumes. Who cares? Nobody. AI can do that, like nobody's business. And now we're not just scanning a document, oh, here's a picture of your document. It's pulling that data and triggering workflows. I mean, so that's not very exciting to look at, but when you think of the implications of something like that in, say, a loan application process or an insurance claim or whatever, suddenly you're taking something that took months to process, potentially down to almost immediate processing.
Yep.
So that's where the most exciting stuff is. It's definitely not the sexiest, but that's where AI is really making a difference. When people see it in use there, I just heard an example, and literally today actually, I just heard an example of, I'm not allowed to name them, but a very big sports brand, yeah? Mm-hmm. That is looking at all of their product data. And now they're using AI, and they're stunned that the AI can look across not thousands, but millions of images that they have and go, yep, this one, this one. Far more accurately than a human could ever do. And sort of immediately, like in a split second, pull together the 5 elements that they needed. Again, doesn't sound very exciting, but that was something that they probably even wouldn't have bothered trying to do before, because what are you going to do? Get a team of 40 interns to leaf through it all? I don't know what you're going to do, right? They can do that, touch of a button. For them, that's transformative.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So it's those kind of things. It's not the IBM world of pushing a button and, oh, look, you know, I produce Parma ham in this little shed in Italy, and now the world can see my products. That's cool. But that doesn't transform the world, really, and it doesn't really happen. The back office, boring stuff is where the transformation comes.
So what does that mean for people that have the back office job right now? The role that does it, you know, that does entail them having to sit there and sift through images or documents to try and find anomalies. What does that mean for these guys?
It means a lot. And I'll tell you what it really means is it comes down to their jobs, right? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And when we give workshops, we get pulled down that line immediately, right? So you say my job's going to be automated. Well, yes, is the answer. And that's a truthful answer in many cases. But again, it comes back to that concept of innovation. Actually, it will change your job. So I'm not going to be one of those people who says that, oh, don't worry about it, more new jobs will appear to replace the old ones. Yeah, I think we've all heard that one before. It never really happens, right? So, no, jobs are going to be lost. That's a given. However, whatever your age and wherever you're at, I honestly believe that the changes that are coming are opportunities for some people to really grow a career that previously might well have been a dead end. Mm-hmm. Because what those people have is domain expertise. They know their company. They know their customers. AI can only do so much. Those people in conjunction with the AI, that's transformative. So jobs will go, but for some people, this is actually I'd say for a lot of people, this is a great opportunity to grab. And you don't have to become a data scientist. You do really just have to get up to speed pretty quick and say, whoa, that's a good fit here. It will not work there. That's very cool, but that's actually not legal. And that's all you need. And you will be a star in your organization. You'll be a star pretty quick in your organization because, let's be honest, 99.9% of the people in your organization haven't got a clue what they're talking about when it comes to AI.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I watched one of the many YouTube videos that you've put together, and in early 2019 you mentioned that businesses assume that they need big armies of PhD level data scientists to come in and achieve like progress in AI. Is that still the case now?
No, it's really not. I mean, it's really not. I mean, look, there is if somebody whose parents are paying a fortune for them to go through MIT and graduate, right? Yes, there's going to be a job for that person at the end of it. Yeah. There's a need for data scientists. That's true. But you take a typical AI project, no, you're probably going to buy something off the shelf. It's already been built.
Yep.
Yeah. The work, yes, of cleaning data needs to be in trained hands. That's a data scientist. But actually, most of the people on a project should and must be actually, I'm using the term very loosely, business analysts. Mm-hmm. I mean, there need to be people who actually understand your business, your people. Because it's a tool. Really corny analogy, but very relevant here in the Northeast at the moment. We've had a lot of snow. I own a snow thrower and a number of snow shovels. Doesn't actually do it itself, right? I mean, that's all AI is. It's a tool. It will do nothing without you and your team doing something with it. So if you take an AI project team, there may only be 2 techies on it. Mm-hmm. The bulk of the people on there are business people and should be. So, yeah, people who are scared off from it, don't be. You don't need advanced calculus. You've got somebody on your team who can do that. Nobody else wants to do it. Mm-hmm. But actually looking at the data and saying, that's right, that's not, need to fix this. Only you who know the business can do that. No technologist can do that for you. And how you actually want to use it in your organization, right? I mean, that's your job. So I think there's great opportunities for people.
So those people that perhaps were slightly worried about them losing their jobs, maybe reskill?
There is really, I mean, seriously, there's a huge opportunity for reskilling here. I spoke at the American Records Management Association conference in Nashville this year. I did the keynote there. It's a records management conference. This is an industry, I don't want to be rude about it because they're really good people. But, traditionally this is a bunch of people who looked after boxes of paper, right? Mm-hmm. And put retention schedules on, whatever. Their world is being transformed by AI. Huge opportunities for them. And there's loads of areas like that. But there is a downside. The reality is, if you think about it, anything that's rules driven, so if you're comparing 2 legal documents, like you graduated from law school, you've got a junior job, and you look for clauses and sections and irregularities in 2 different contracts, sorry, machine learning can do that better. Mm-hmm. Yeah, some jobs are going to go. I mean, they are.
Yep.
But for those who are far-sighted, and again, this is really early days for AI, anybody now, this is an awesome opportunity for them. Awesome opportunity. Give it 10 years, you may have already been swiped.
Yep, missed the boat. So do you have any concerns over ethical AI then? So not having...
Oh, I have huge concerns over ethical AI.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the big problem that we're only just starting to talk about. I mean, some people in the industry have talked about it, but it's now getting into the mainstream.
Yeah.
Too big a topic for this, but in very simple terms, there's two big problems. One is that some AI is not explainable. And what we mean by that, if it comes to a decision and it says you can have parole or stay in prison, you can have a loan or not, you can't actually explain how the AI came to the decision, right? And we won't get into the technology here, but it's literally impossible, to be blunt about it, right? That, is a big concern, right? That's black box AI for certain things is huge. But the bigger, well, maybe not, if you're one of the people in prison, that's the big concern. But the broader concern is over what's called bias. AI is only as good as the data you give it.
Yep.
You can give it the cleanest, best data you've ever seen in your life. It contains bias. It will. So in HR situations, if you give it your past HR information, it will simply replicate all the biases you had before, right? So, for it, well, I mean, to be blunt about it, if your company wasn't hiring that many women or Filipinos or whatever, it's going to carry on with the same decision making. That's what you taught it. Well, here's the issue. People think biases can be fixed. Like, oh, it's doing this, I'll fix it, right? That's wrong, didn't know we were doing that. That's cool and all, but the thing is, a bias isn't actually a mistake. Right? It's giving you an accurate answer to the question you asked it.
Yeah, based on the data.
Based on the data. Yeah. And, as humans, we can say, I mean, we talk about people here, and HR, it's a good example. You think of racism, you think of sexism, people who don't want to hire Muslims or Jews or Christians or whatever, right? You can suddenly categorize maybe 5 or 6 on a board really quickly. Yeah, trust me, there's so many more biases than that. Those are big and they need to be addressed. But there will always be bias there. And that is an ethical issue. The biggest issue of all of this is hardly any AI projects today have anybody in charge of the ethics or even considering it. So we are actually, I mean, I can't break confidences, I'll get myself into trouble, but I mean, we see projects that are way down the line, they're not going to stop. And when you say to them, well, what if at some point somebody demands an explanation for how you did that? And as far as they're concerned, they'll cross that bridge when they get to it.
Yep.
And you know what? This is the nasty truth. They'll probably get away with it. That's a big concern. As this grows and this grows and this grows and it becomes the norm, in Britain, right, we've got that phrase, computer said no. That's it.
We do.
And that's what people are starting to do. I don't know. That's what the computer said. Now, legally, I would think you're on pretty shaky ground. Ethically, you're in up to your neck. In practice, unfortunately, you'll probably get away with it.
Yeah. So I was going to actually ask, like, what you think what 2020 holds for AI from a scientific advancement perspective. It sounds like actually we need to get this right before we can see a real big step forward in the actual technology advancement itself.
Yeah, I think the technology will move forward in 2020 in some areas. For example, computer vision, so recognizing this is a horse and not a zebra, or this is a 1 and not the letter L.
There's a lot of ethics with that as well at the moment, right?
Oh, that's we actually have, yes.
Yeah.
Don't even want to go down that one. Big issues there. But the computer vision, it is getting better and better. I think you see a lot of advances in voice. The popularity of Siri and Alexa and stuff has suddenly brought that to the fore, so people want to use it more. They don't realize how limited it actually is today. So, billions will go into making it better. So there'll be technology advances. But you're right. It's less the technology. It's more people starting to use it. I think that's the big change in 2020 and moving forward, is people actually getting their hands dirty and playing with it and go, oh, wow, I didn't know it could do that, or, oh, I thought it could do that and it can't. And I think somebody's playing a game of ping pong somewhere, and I apologise for the background. But, yeah.
So, if we were going to get Mystic Alan recommendation for 2020 in terms of the next advancement within AI.
Well, I mean, we're not going to have singularity and AI is suddenly on a level with human being. That's not going to happen in 2020. No, I think honestly, bringing it back to basics, I think the big thing in 2020 is we'll see some breakthrough applications. Things that we didn't think about, where just some bright spark, it could be the office junior, just looks at something and says, well, couldn't we do it this way? And oh my God, yes we can. And we never could before with AI. I mean, that's the thing. AI exposes things that you didn't even know, biases, right? It's a good example. But there's a lot of positives as well. So if you take personalization, how old are you, where do you live, how much you earn, right? Yeah, well, AI can do that at a quantum level almost, right? And okay, it can do that, but so what? So I think honestly, yes, there'll be. I think we'll see some real breakthroughs, but I think it's more in how people embrace it and transform their organizations and the core technology itself. The core technology just keeps plodding along at quite a fast pace, but it's way ahead of the usage today. So even if it advances further, nobody's using it. So you've got that sort of dichotomy there, really.
And then lastly, I guess, if someone was looking to get into AI, what would your advice be to them? It's a buzzword at the moment. Everyone wants to be an AI specialist, a data scientist, whatever it might be. But really, where should someone be focused on starting if they were looking for a career in artificial intelligence?
Well, the very first thing they should do is read our book, obviously.
Yep.
I mean, that's a given.
Click on the link
but
below.
Actually, yeah. But actually, in a sense, I mean, you have to read our book. It's a great book. But yeah, from the business aspect, there's a lot of people coming through college with data science backgrounds. We can argue that there is a shortage of data scientists out there, and there is, and you'll pay a good price for them. But there's a much bigger shortage of business professionals who have embraced AI, right? That's the biggest gap we have. So somebody coming through now, whether they're in advertising, whether in HR, whether they're in manufacturing, learn enough about AI to understand its strengths, its weaknesses. Yes, understand a little bit about the technology. Again, you don't need to get into the math, but understand that there isn't just one thing called AI. There's lots of different models. Right? Some do regression testing, some do that. It's not that hard. I mean, even when I say those words, it probably sounds complicated. It's really not. Okay, get your head around the basic concepts. See how you can apply that into your work or into your future, even. But there has never been an opportunity like this. It's never existed ever. But sure, if you're really, really, really into advanced math, go down the data science route. But honestly, there are so many companies out there looking for people who can come in, and I use the terms project management, business analyst really loosely. You probably won't really have that job title, right? But somebody who can come in and help them use this stuff. And to help them, trust me, you don't need to spend 2 years at college. A couple of weeks, you'll be up to speed. Yes, you'll have to carry on learning, but that gets you off to a pretty fast start. Lots of job opportunities out there.
Absolutely. Well, Alan, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
To the guys watching this, if you are looking for someone that could help give you advice with your business, if you're facing any challenges, feel free to reach out to myself or Alan. I'm sure we'll be more than happy to help.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.